They got the car there or the truck there, and if they didn't repair it because of their agreement with the insurance company, they wouldn't have made any money. So the only way for them to make money is to repair it. So that's a bad place for a consumer to be. So
It's a big red flag.
it's a gigantic red flag. This is a sad story for a couple, and we're going to make it good for them.
All right.
Because that's what we do.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. Very nice to have you along with us. We appreciate you for being here. I'm Eric Reamer, and that's Robert Grieve. And if this is your first time joining us, hey, do us a favor, click the thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that they appreciate the content and they will share it with more people. And at the end of this, if you think, hey, that was valuable, go ahead and click the subscribe button. We appreciate that as well. And YouTube will take that and translate it to sharing more as they do.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, happy Saturday to you.
To you, my dear friends, happy Saturday to you.
I neglected to say hello to the ones who get up every Saturday morning with us, and I want to say thank you for doing that. You really are.
You're so special.
We appreciate it, and if you want, you can chat with us live during the premiere or leave a comment. We'll reply during the week. That's
Simple
always
good morning is always good too.
Absolutely. All right, so Rob, when my kids were young, we used to play a game called I Spy.
With my little eye?
With my little eye. You know the game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this
My
is
great-grandparents told me about it.
This is perhaps this topic that we're going to be sharing with you today is a classic example of I Spy with my little eye that never should have been played. So that's my tee it up. Now let's see us hit it out of the park. What are we talking about today?
It's about helping people, and this is a sad story for a couple, and we're going to make it good for them.
All right.
Because that's what we do. We're going to help them out.
Yeah.
And so they had an accident almost 2 years ago.
Okay.
Took a while to fix the truck, and we're talking about a 2012 vehicle with 100,000 miles on it.
Okay.
That was fixed back in early part of 21.
All right.
Pandemic time.
Sure.
And by a national brand body shop that they're everywhere.
One of the big names.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I guess they were a little slow because a lot of this went on at that time that we were, not we, the industry,
Yeah.
were fixing cars that should be totals.
We talked about that a little bit on the fact that in order to make money during the slow time when fewer cars were on the road, that shops were making decisions in partnership with insurers to repair cars that should never have been repaired in the first place.
Right. But here's the thing, they got the car there or the truck there, and if they didn't repair it because of their agreement with the insurance company, they wouldn't have made any money. So the only way for them to make money is to repair it. So that's a bad place for a consumer to be. Trust me, that's a bad place.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to tell you about that. But that happens. Because the agreements with the body shops that they partner with,
Yeah.
you say you can't charge for this, you can't charge for that, you're going to give us free this and free
is
that.
The insurer pushing down on those body shops.
Yeah, if you want the contract and the referrals, then this is what we want.
Yeah.
And it's never good for the consumer.
This is what we call a DRP, or a Direct Repair Program Partnership. And if you want more information about those, in the description box below, I will list a couple of different articles that we've written on our website.
And we've done plenty of videos on them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this vehicle was hit very, very hard.
Okay.
Although it didn't look like it from the pictures. But they overlooked some things, let's just say.
That is a very kind and gracious way of putting what you probably should have said.
So they repaired this vehicle, put a fender on it. They put an aftermarket fender on it, aftermarket headlight, a little piece of the bumper on the end, aftermarket. Which I asked the consumer about that. I said, did they tell you they were putting aftermarket parts on it rather than GM parts?
Yeah.
And she said, well, I asked about it when I picked it up and I saw the invoice, and they said, well, that's all your insurance company will pay. And you know what? That may be the case because of your policy. That's why I always recommend getting an OEM rider, so that takes that out of the... As a matter of fact, I just had somebody call me and tell me that they took my advice and put the thing on there, and it worked out for them.
The OEM rider.
Yeah. They're in a different state, but it changes the way it changes.
I did the same thing, and even though they didn't want to honor it, I was able to apply a little pressure because I had applied a lot of cash. Actually, not really a lot of cash, a little cash. It's not that much more expensive to get this OEM rider.
Well, I asked him, I said, what did it cost you, $60 a year? He says, not even.
Right.
I'm like, so there you go. I mean, I hope you never have to use it.
Right.
But if you do, you got $60 a year of peace of mind.
That's
that
right.
Should you have to use it, you're not going to go through the nonsense that these people are going through.
All right, so she said they told her that's all that would be covered.
Right. And the point is, A, like I always say, make sure you get a copy of the estimate while they're fixing it. Like before they start to fix it,
Right.
And any changes or amendments to it as it gets changed.
Yes.
Ask for copies to be emailed to you immediately.
Yep.
Of any changes, the original and any changes to it.
Okay.
Because then you'll be able to clearly see on the estimate what they're doing. And if you have a question, you can always send it to somebody and say, hey, what does this mean and what does that mean? And
Sure.
There's lots of things to look out for on these things. Most of the time it's what's not on it. But sometimes it is what's on it, like aftermarket parts, and you don't want those.
Right.
So they put a bunch of suspension in this vehicle, and they get finished putting the fender on, putting the suspension, all the rest of that. Last thing they're going to do is send it for an alignment.
Yep.
And the alignment place says they can't align it.
They can't align it?
They can't align it. And so what do? They deliver it to them.
To the guest.
To the guest. And they tell him, can't get an alignment on it.
But here's your car, your truck.
Mm-hmm. And they drove it that way for quite some time. Because they took them at their word that it was safe enough to drive. It's just going to be a little wonky, and
It's just going to be a little wonky.
I don't know if they used the word wonky.
No, but they use the words, we can't align it.
Can't, yeah. That's what the guest told me.
That's a
I
big-
wasn't there to hear it, so
It's a big red flag.
it's a gigantic red flag. So if you go through the trouble to fix all this stuff
Yeah,
and put all this suspension in, and you can't align the vehicle,
right.
I think that requires you do a little deeper soul searching into the vehicle to figure out, well, if I put all this stuff in, why won't it align? And one thing that they didn't do is measure the frame of the vehicle,
Oh, you've got to be
because the
kidding me.
suspension connects to the frame.
All the suspension that they put in
Connects to the frame.
connects to the frame. And they never did a pre-scan or a post-scan. They never
Well,
scanned.
I don't know about the pre and post scan.
Okay.
That was kind of irrelevant at this point. Although I know that the when we did one, the steering angle sensor is off the charts wrong.
Okay, so pre-scan and post-scan are different than a frame measurement.
Yeah.
Okay, my
Measuring.
mistake. All right.
So they never did a frame measurement. So let's take a couple of because we just walked around this car initially, and she came in on a Saturday right after we did our episode.
Yes.
I went down and met them and started taking a look at the truck with Brian.
Yep.
And so let's pull up the picture of the where the grill, the headlight, and the bumper all meet each other, and you can see there's a little space there.
You said meet each other.
Well, they all kind of come together there-ish.
Yeah, that's a big ish.
That's a big ish. And then let's look at the other side.
Ooh.
That seems a little tighter.
It does. Yeah.
If you see things like this, they are telltales that there's problems.
Shout out. I spy with my little eye.
Yeah, there is problems. This is just walking around a thing. Then we took a look at, so let me back up. Guest goes to the dealer because they have a recall on the car. And they said, while you have the car, can you try to do an alignment on it? No, we can't do an alignment. You need to take this to a body shop. They tried to do the alignment, but they can't do the alignment. So you need to take it to a body shop.
Huh.
And we have one right next door. So they go next door and said, hey, we can't get an alignment done on this.
Yeah.
That body shop said, go see Nylund's.
Oh!
They'll get it straightened out for you.
Wow.
So that's how it arrived here.
Okay.
So if you look at this tire to the back of the fender,
Yeah.
right by where your door opens and closes,
Right.
there's a gap there, and there's supposed to be a gap there. But if we go to the other side,
Oh,
there is a much larger gap there.
yeah, that's like a Michael Strahan kind of gap.
And just to put a little perspective,
Yeah.
we'll use a couple of fingers. So there's a couple of fingers on that side,
Yeah.
and more fingers on the other side.
A lot more.
Yeah. So it tells you the wheel's not in the right place. And he said even when he puts it in four-wheel drive, the thing chatters and, goes all over the place, makes a lot of noise, grinding noises and stuff. The wheel's not where it belongs.
Rob.
And the wheel's not where it belongs because it attaches to the suspension parts that attach to a frame that is bent.
Any chance we can take a look at the frame? I mean, we did that, right?
Yeah, we measure, of course. You got to diagnose these vehicles, and you have to look past the damage that you can see and look at the rest of it for additional damage.
Yeah.
So here we have each dot is a measurement on the frame machine.
Gotcha.
And if they're red, that means they're bad.
Oh.
And down at the bottom it gives you the corresponding numbers, and these are millimeters. So at some places it's -9 millimeters off, -8. Then you have 5s and -6s on the same side. I mean, there's all these measurements that are incorrect, and to put it further in perspective,
Whoa.
this machine will show you.
A picture's worth 1,000 words.
It's supposed to be a rectangle, and you can see that it's.
Yeah, we got a little wave of the ocean there.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
not the way it's supposed to be done. And
Rob, how did this car ever get past?
I mean, I guess they disclosed it. They said it didn't get an alignment, but
They disclosed it, but
you have to be careful where you take your vehicle. And if they say something to you that doesn't sound exactly right, you need to start doing some investigating. These people drove this thing for almost 2 years, a year and a half, something like that. They had to put a whole new set of tires on it. It needs another set now. And it's all because, they paid their part. They paid the deductible. The insurance company paid their part. The shop did not take care of the guest.
that's the bottom line right there.
You have to invest yourself when the vehicle's getting repaired and be aware of some of the things that are going on with your vehicle. I know it's a pain in the butt, and you should just be able to hand your keys to somebody and have
Sure.
faith that it's going to be done properly. But there's nothing wrong with asking questions and asking for documents. If that upsets somebody, you already know you're in the wrong spot. Because we send our guests revisions and everything all the time.
Yeah.
And you'll see on ours that they don't say aftermarket parts or used or, any of that stuff. And, you can look at this estimate and look at the suspension stuff and the parts that were replaced. And remember what I said, it's what's not on the estimate sometimes that is the problem.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking through here and I'm saying, well, wait a second. There's no pre-scan, there's no post-scan, and there's no
Frame
measurements. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that could have affected the frame, and in essence, they fixed the total.
Well,
so we're in the middle of this. We're going to get it taken care of for them. Car needs a frame. Or truck needs a frame. There's no getting around that.
yeah.
But I just wanted to do this episode to caution you as consumers to talk to your shop and get a warm and fuzzy with them. Or if you can't, then you may not be in the right spot. And if they're on the list that your insurance company said use these people, don't use those people. They made a list for you of people not to use, in my opinion. You want to go to somebody that you trust, and that's what I got for today.
Well, it's important, and it's important enough for me to ask you one more time. Would you please share this? If you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or any of the socials that you use, would you share this video with your sphere of influence? Because this happens day in and day out. And
I got 5 of them. 5 of them in the shop right now that we're going through a little bit at a time. It takes a long time to diagnose what somebody else did or didn't do.
Yeah. If you ever have a question about the repair or the quality of your repair from another shop, don't hesitate to ask for a post-repair inspection from an independent body shop that has your best interest in mind. Rob, thank you for what you do and how you protect the guest at every opportunity. We appreciate it more than you know. Cheers, my friend. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you. Have an amazing week.